you off with a fluffy dollop. The galaxy has been a peaceful place for many years. Blah, 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 blah. Nevertheless, tension and discord are growing among the 7 major species in the Council itself. Old alliances are shattering and hasty diplomatic treaties are made in secrecy. A confrontation with the superpowers seems inevitable. Only the outcome of the galactic conflict remains to be seen. Which faction will emerge victorious and lead the galaxy under its rule? The shadows of the great civilizations are about to eclipse the galaxy. Lead your people to victory.
How much paperwork do I have to do for this admin and fragile tensions? You haven't filled out the proper form.
Your faction has no background. -2 population.
So, in Eclipse, we're in charge of a vast interstellar civilization, and we're competing for success. Each round, we've got the game is played over 9 rounds. In each round, you will expand your civilization by colonising new areas, research new technologies, build spaceships to wage war. The game will end after 9 rounds, and the player with the most victory points wins. Victory points are gained from controlling sectors, fighting battles, forming diplomatic relations, researching technologies, making discoveries, and controlling monoliths. Okay, there are many potential paths to victory, so you need to plan your strategy according to the strengths and weaknesses of your species. That's an interesting piece of advice. While paying attention to your other civilizations' endeavours. Right then, so the game is very, very, very Euro with a very Ameritrash combat.
Cool.
Okay, so what will happen? If we look at your player boards, that's the easiest way to learn it. At the top, you have your blueprints of your ships. Now, this isn't like Civilization, where with research, you could be like, oh, I will research farming and things like that. Almost everything that you research in this game is war. Okay. Yet, war is not the be-all and end-all. Right. It's more like where we are currently, more like almost a bit like a Cold War, where like you have to want to have a bigger stick than the other guys. So at the top, you've got your interceptors, your cruisers, your dreadnoughts, and your star bases. Okay.
I can't imagine those little things.
Yeah,
there.
and these are the blueprints of the ships. And as you buy new technologies, you can put parts onto your ship.
That's cool.
Now, not only is that's not just like, I'm going to upgrade the guns, or I'm going to upgrade the engine, or I'm going to upgrade the drive. You can actually be like, well, actually, no, sod the armour, I want another gun. Or actually, sod the targeting computer,
okay.
We'll have more armour, and just create tanks that float through space.
Totals!
Okay? So the possibility of ship design is a lot.
Cool.
So that's the top part of the board. This part of the board is your technology. There's 3 different types of technology, which actually means very little. But what all this means is that as you progressively research more technology, it lowers the cost to research that type of technology. So at the start of the game, we already have the starbase researched. So if you want to research another of these called military technologies, another one of these, you'll lower the cost of it by 1, and so on and so forth, the more you research. So the more you specialise, the cheaper it'll be.
Top row to top row, middle row, bottom row, bottom row.
Yes.
Cool.
There are symbols.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so that will reduce the cost of technologies, which is essential because some of the most expensive technologies are like 16, whereas the cheapest ones are like 2.
Yeah.
So that can be really important. And if you keep going, it can give you victory points.
Do you have to do it sequentially?
It doesn't. No.
Research.
There isn't a sequence. Like,
so you don't.
Doesn't matter what. If you want to save up and buy the biggest one first, you can do that.
That's what I was asking. Yeah.
This orange shield is the universal symbol for victory points.
Cool.
Okay, so researching technology can give you victory points.
So you've done 4 researches. You start earning VP on your military.
Well, at the end of the game, you'll score that many victory points. Yeah, any victory points are scored at the end of the game.
Cool.
Underneath, you have your population cubes. These are your people. Okay, and as you go out throughout space, this is where you will colonise worlds. So this is your starting space, Jack. This one's yours, Sean. And any time there's a space on a world, you can put a person onto that track.
Yeah.
Now, these tracks are very clever because the 3 tracks represent the 3 specialisms of your species.
Okay, cool.
Money, science, and materials. Okay?
So money,
Science, and materials. And this is how many of each one you produce each turn. Okay? So you're going to get 2 money every turn, 2 science every turn, and 2 materials every turn. But this is your starting tile. So pop one of those population on each of the little empty spaces. Not the stars, just the empty spaces. And you'll notice, as you move the cubes, now the numbers have changed.
Do I also need to take one of these circles?
Don't worry about that, just for the moment, but yes. But you'll notice now, you actually make 3 money, 3 science, and 3 materials. So you don't have to look on the board and go, okay, I've got 1 brown world here, 1 brown world here, 1 brown world here. I make 3 materials. The more you put onto the table, the more it reveals.
Yeah.
And at the very bottom of the track, you can see it tells you exactly what numbers are coming up.
Awesome.
Okay? So as you discover more worlds of certain types,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
your economy, because that's what this is, will increase. Now, underneath, you have your influence discs, and this represents basically the logistical difficulty of actually controlling a civilization in space. Now, you need to take your furthest most disc and put it in the centre of your tile, and that means you control that disc. You control that tile. Okay, this is your tile, and that means that you can put your population cubes on the planets, as we've already done, and you will get these victory points at the end of the game. Okay? Now, you can see, as well, there's a number revealed here. These discs are used to conquer planets, but they're also used to take actions, and that's what these symbols are above. There are 6 actions in the game: explore, influence, research, upgrade, build, and move. Now, one of the crazy things about this game is that it's not a game where we take it in turns, right? But it's not you have 6 actions on your turn.
Yeah.
You have as many actions as you want, right? But every time you spend one of these discs, and you put them on your symbols,
It's harder to conquer.
okay, and then let's say you explore a new region and you put that there.
Yeah.
At the end of the turn, when you pass, and it's up to you when you pass,
Yeah.
you then have to pay. You have to check the cost, the logistical cost of your empire functioning to your economy. So if you want to spend all your actions, that's fine. But now you've got to pay 10 money and you're only making 3.
Right.
That's a deficit of 7, and you could bankrupt your civilization.
That's cool.
So it doesn't go off all of your resources combined. It
Or
goes off
just money, because that is logistically how you pay to maintain the governments and the ships and everything like that. So as your empire gets bigger, or if you take more actions, the cost to maintain it is greater.
Cool.
So you can take as many actions as you want to.
Yeah.
So if I go to -1 money,
Well, I'll explain bankruptcy in just a moment. Okay, but yeah, bankruptcy generally is bad because look at Greece. So now here, these are the markers that these are the markers that keep track of your money, your science, and your materials. And you can see little pips on this track, which is where they start. So you start with 2 money, 3 science, and 3 materials. Okay. Now these will fluctuate as the game goes on. If you look on the back of your card, it gives you a breakdown. The first phase of the game, the meat and potatoes of the game, is the action phase. Then it's the combat phase, where anywhere in the galaxy where there are 2 conflicting forces, battle will take place. And
Are there rogue ones like in Civ with
yes,
settlers?
there's barbarians.
Cool.
Yeah. Then there's the upkeep phase, and this is where you check your money to how much you've spent in influence discs. Okay, which means if you've been cautious or you've got a really strong economy, you'll gain money, so your money will build up. Okay, you'll see how much science you get, and you'll add it on. You'll see how many materials you get, and you'll add them on. Okay, and then in the cleanup phase, you'll move all your action discs back onto your track. They don't move off the planets, of course. Okay, and new tech tiles come out the back. Okay, so that's the broad thing of the game. Now, if we have a look at the actions, if you flip it back over, it'll break them down. Explore. If you take the explore action, you choose if you're going to explore. Basically, at the start of the game, we're set up roughly like this. Okay, there is 1 sector of space between us and the middle of. This is the Galactic Council.
That's what I was about to ask.
Okay, so when you explore, you have to go, because this isn't actual real distance of space. We have to use wormholes to travel, so you can only travel through the wormholes off your tiles. Okay, so if we're like this, we cannot travel this way. We are not next to each other. We are billions of light years apart. It's only when it's like this that people can go from here to here.
Cool.
Okay, so when you explore, you choose a wormhole on any tile where you have an influence disc or a ship. The 1s surround the middle, and the 1s are the juicy planets with loads of victory points and juicy. The 2s are the things that connect all of us, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. And the 3s are the arse end of space that go around the outside.
Come on, Tatooine!
And they're generally not great, but they do have their uses. Okay, so when you explore, you would say, Jack would say, okay, I'm going to explore a 3. Okay, he draws the tile. Then he has to match it up in a legal way, okay? And then that reveals the new sector of space. That's a really, really, really good three.
That's pretty good.
That's probably the best three in the game. Right then, and then on that explore tile, it shows you what you need to do. So if there's this, I don't know what a shape with a curve and two straight sides is. But whatever that is, that's a discovery symbol. This reflects that there's some ancient piece of technology there that you can discover. So you take the top one of this stack, you put it on there. Okay. This is how many victory points the tile's worth, and here is a juicy planet. Now this doesn't usually, the planets are orange, brown or pink. If they're white, you've met an advanced planet, and you can choose to take one from any stack. So if your economy's struggling, you take it from economy. If you really want your science to bump up, you move it from your science. So on and so forth.
I've met the big brain from Futurama. They am the greatest.
Now, when you get to a tile, if there's no enemies there, you can spend one of your influence. So let's say Jack did the explore action, then he could spend one of these influence discs and take that tile. If it was a discovery tile, he'd take this. They're always worth 2 victory points, or you can have the benefit on the other side.
Do you get to look at it first?
Yes, and it's open information. And then you choose and you decide. And then, if you want to colonise planets...
It's a conformal drive, but
we'll have to shuffle that back in.
Yeah.
But so it could be,
I guess there's much that's going to be shuffled in as well. So
yeah.
I'm guessing there's more than one of each of these things.
Yes.
Well. Yeah.
So that, for instance, is a piece of ship tech, which is just better than anything you'll ever be able to make.
Yeah.
And for instance, Ben found like this, basically the heart of a sun that he put into the middle of his dreadnoughts and powered them to just devastating effect really early in the game. Whereas I found quite a few that weren't very useful for me at the time, so I took them as victory points. Then, if you want to colonise a planet, that's where these come in. Your 3 colony ships.
Yeah.
Okay. At any time on any of your actions, you can flip colony ships to put people onto planets. Okay. So you can only do 3 a turn.
But they can.
Unless
you
they
can do
refresh.
3 a turn, not 3 a game.
Yeah, 3 a turn. Yeah. And they can also get them back within a turn. At the end of each turn, they flip back. But in addition, you can get them back another way. So that's the explore action. Okay. Now you might find ancient ships, these guard sectors, and you cannot place a disc on a sector that's guarded by one.
Yeah.
You have to kill it first. And these things will kick you if you go near them at the start of the game. You really need to tech up before you fight them.
Is there a common thing? I don't know if you've noticed it from because you already played once, but are they more common in Sector 1s, 2s or 3s?
We
Do they
believe in
not
Sector
appear
1
in
and
Sector
Sector 2.
1, 2,
They're not very often in 3.
No.
Because that's the arse end of space. Right.
So it's not that they've been pushed out, they just stay where all the people are.
But they're basically, you've got to imagine, like, these are just, we haven't been here before. This is our entire civilization.
Oh, so we know where this is?
Yes, because...
Okay, I assumed that this would be like safe space. Slightly less
No,
space.
not necessarily, but it can be. Right, then the influence action is probably the one you'll do the least in the game. The influence action is a bit like the reorganise action. You can, let's say for instance that you've got a piece of space that early on for you was really useful. You really needed that brown planet, but now actually that action disc is costing you more than it's worth. Okay, you can remove action discs from planets, and you can basically move things around a bit. Okay, and the influence action refills your colony ships. Okay, but you won't use that one very often, to be honest. In our first game. Anyway.
Do you have to when you explore space? I always take it you need a ship to physically move into that space. Oh, so you basically send out a probe.
Yeah, well, because if anyone actually ends up living there, that's the colony ship.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to move.
No,
say move a fighter there to explore it
not.
and then move.
No. Right then, the next action, and this one's a big one, is the research action. Okay, every turn, and at the start of the game there will be a selection of these technology tiles onto this area here, and every turn more will be added. Okay, there are multiple copies of each one, and these techs do all sorts of things, but generally they make your ships into ultra badasses. Okay, if you want to research, you put a thing on the research action, and then you spend the amount of science listed on this, and you move your marker down. Okay, and then you will take. So let's just get one out of the bag to show you what one looks like. The improved hull. And then you would take improved hull. So Jack here, if Jack wanted to buy it, he'd have to pay 4. Okay, because he hasn't got any in grid technology.
What's the 4/?
I'll explain. I'll run through it. And that goes there. Okay, and now Jack has improved hull as a technology, which will relate in just a moment when we get to upgrades. Now, the second number on there is the minimum cost. Let's say Jack had researched loads of these, so he was going to get 6 off. Well, it only costs 4. Its minimum cost is 3. You'll always pay 3 no matter how cheap it would be. Okay. Now, let's keep that example. So Jack researched. Then what you can do is an upgrade action. Okay, well, not then, but you can do the upgrade action whenever you want. But until you research something, it's not that great. The upgrade action, you can peel off as many pieces as you want from your ships, because you can never put pieces on top of pieces. You can't stack up your ships.
It's not Galaxy Truck.
It's not. Well, your Galaxy Trucker you can't stack up, but yes. Right then.
But the same mishmash idea.
When you upgrade, you can take any tech that you've researched. This is free to anyone. This you have to research first. And you can put up to 2 pieces on your ship. Okay, so Jack might say, oh, great, well, I'll put some improved hull on my interceptors. So now they are basically dreadnoughts. And I'll put some improved hull on my dreadnoughts. So now they are just walking freaking turtles. Okay? Now, you don't have, you could put 2 on the same ship. You could put 2 different technologies if you had 2 different technologies and all this sort of thing. Now, when you design ships, every ship has a source which provides its power, except for the starbases which have off sources. This is the limit for how much... I'm giving her all she's got, Captain! You can't exceed your power, right? So, for instance, I researched plasma cannons at the start of the last game, and I went, oh, yeah, I'm going to put plasma cannons on my interceptor. And I went, oh, crap, because actually 2 power, 1 power, 1 power was 4 power. It was, whatever. You guys learned from my mistake.
Only the heart of the sun could power it.
Right, so that it physically can't dig it, but I could upgrade my ion cannon. So now it's 2, 1, that's 3. So for instance, I really wanted to put one here to make my dreadnought, but that's way too much. I couldn't even upgrade one of the ion cannons because that'd be 2, 3, 4. Okay, and she just can't dig it. Okay, so you're really, really bound by the energy source, which was crippling for me because no new energy sources came out for ages. Whereas because Ben found that, it meant all of his dreadnoughts would just...
But you could say put one of those reactors in a blank space.
Yes.
Okay.
You could.
But then you're basically wasting a space.
But you could stick it in here.
You could stick it in here and then put some plasma cannons
and then upgrade the weaponry and the shield.
It's deciding what you want your ships to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the upgrade action, and when you do that upgrade, any ships that are on the table of that type instantly have that. Okay. You don't have to build them again.
It's not like Civ where you have to stop in the middle of a forest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Upgrade your unit for a turn, and then they die.
The build action allows you to build 2 ships/structures. Okay. When you build them, you pay the material cost. Interceptors cost 3, cruisers cost 5, dreadnoughts cost 8, starbases cost 3. And there's 2 other things up here, but you can only build them if you get the tech. Okay. When you build them, you can put them in any space where you have an influence hex, Okay. And they just go onto the board, and you pay the materials, and then you've got those ships. You are bound by the number of ships that there are in the game, so you can't have more than 2 dreadnoughts. Okay. That's the build action. Very simple. Then the move action. It's got 3 arrows. You get to make 3 move actions. Okay. Now the speed of the ship is listed
with 1 move.
Well, I'll explain. The speed of the ships are listed here. They all move 1 hex because they're shit at the start of the game. So you could move 1 ship 3 times. You could move 1 ship 2 times, and then move another one once, or move 3 ships once. And if you increase the speed, then you can do some really crazy things. Okay.
So if that became like speed 3, you could move
3 ships. You could essentially, or move 3 ships 3 spaces each. Which is pretty bonkers. And those are the actions. Like it's.
Are these arrows here maximum speeds?
I'll explain this because you understand that that's really understanding combat, which is like a massive part of the game. But that's the action phase, and so Jack will take an action, Sean will take an action, Alec will take an action, I'll take an action, until someone decides to pass. And when you pass, you flip your card like this. Okay, the first person to pass will become the first player in the next turn. First player isn't the be-all and end-all in this game, but it is still kind of important.
For picking tech.
That's exactly real. That and the order of battle can sometimes be important. Now, when you've passed, you're not actually out, though, because if you look on the back of your action card, it's actually got 3 actions you can take. And so, let's say you pass, right, and then Sean goes, ha-ha, and he moves and he attacks you, right? You can actually react to that by taking the upgrade action, the build action, or the move action. Yeah. But because they're reactions, they're reduced versions. So in the upgrade action, you only get to upgrade one part of a ship. With the build action, you only get to build one ship. With the move action, you only get to take one move.
And you can't multiple stack hexes.
No. You can, but...
Christ. Logistics,
you are going to bankrupt yourself if you're not careful. And once everyone's passed, the action phase is ended. Then we get into the battle phase. And I think the battle in this game is done exceptionally well. So, what happens... If we have a look at a ship, the little arrows here, arrows indicate initiative. Okay, this is inherent initiative, so an interceptor is naturally speedier than a dreadnought.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can also see that all of their nuclear drives give them another initiative. So an interceptor has 3 initiative, a cruiser has 2, a dreadnought has 1, and a starbase has 4 because it's just a floating gun.
Could have 5 with the nuclear drive.
Yeah, but don't worry too much about adding things on at the moment. So and the initiative is how quickly you strike in combat. What a surprise! When you attack, you roll a number of dice equal to the number of squares that ship has. So an interceptor rolls 1, cruiser rolls 1, a dreadnought rolls 2 yellows, and a starbase rolls 1. Okay, if you have 2 interceptors, you'll roll 2 yellow dice. You hit on a 6. You always hit on a 6. And you always miss on a 1. Okay? You do an amount of damage equal to the number of stars in the box. So yellows, ion weaponry, always does 1 hit. Plasma weaponry does 2, and antimatter cannons do 4. Okay? Now, ships can only take 1 hit and then they're dead. Okay? Each point of hull takes a hit. So the interceptor has no hull. The cruisers have 1 hull. The dreadnoughts have 3 hull, and so do the starbases. 2, and they can always take 1 hit.
And they automatically fix at the end of combat.
They have 2
if they're
hull.
not dead.
Yeah. What?
They have 2 hull. The way you've just explained it. No hull, 1 hull.
Hull.
Requires a hit, requires 2 hits, requires 3 hits.
Yeah,
requires
all
3
ships
hits.
are made out of
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah,
Cool. So it's hull plus 1.
Because, the symbol's the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means that, ion weaponry is really weak against these big guys, but plasma cannons just go through cruisers the same way they would through an interceptor.
Yeah.
So you roll your dice, you'll assign your hits, you blow stuff up.
Cool.
Okay? And then the other person attacks until everyone's dead or they all retreat.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm guessing on a IS turn you call for retreat.
No, it's not going to... The combat phase is done after actions.
Okay, fair
Okay,
enough.
so if it gets to my... let's say your interceptors go and they blow away my dreadnought.
Yeah.
So my interceptors have got no chance now.
Yeah.
I can say, my interceptors retreat.
Cool.
And they move to the edge of the tile.
That's what I
you
want.
get one more turn
Yeah.
with everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then on my interceptors' next turn, they run away.
Cool. Yeah, that's
Okay?
So
but
in theory-
retreat is such a terrible idea.
It's
most of the time.
in Motions and Marauders, you get one last shot.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, additionally, as I say, you only hit on 6s in the game, right?
This is Ben Shaw porn.
Targeting computers, these increase your chances to hit. So cruisers, dreadnoughts, and starbases, right from the start of the game, hit on 5 pluses. Okay? Which is a massive advantage. Okay? Then if we have a look at some more tech that's on the table, shielding lowers your opponent's chances to hit you.
But it can't be worse than a 6.
Exactly, a 6 is always a hit. So at the start of the game, if you're fighting interceptors, shielding is pointless. Because they're only hitting you on 6s anyway. But I took shielding, like you can see these ancient ships have got targeting computers, right? And I took phase shielding, Gauss shielding, at the start of the game, put it on my ships, and the number of 5s...
IP address!
The number
Games
of,
Workshop!
The number of 5s that Ben rolled against my ships and would have destroyed them, but because of my Gauss shielding, it cancelled out his computer, so I wasn't getting hit.
Is barbarian combat like in Civ? The person to your left or right rolls?
Technically not. It could be anyone, but we did it as person to the left.
I like that, but
Just because I knew if I tried to circumvent Ben, who was on my left, then Alec would roll like a demon. So that's that. These are all different kinds of weapons.
Yeah.
These targeting computers also give you initiative. These are the new power sources. These drives replace your nuclear drive. They don't have to replace the nuclear drive. They increase your speed and your initiative.
Yeah.
Right, and you can see antimatter cannons. They still only hit on 6s,
but
plus targeting computers, but they do 4 damage when they hit. It's just dirty. We didn't even see them. That's how powerful they are. Now the plasma missiles. This is one of the things. One of the kind of consistent criticisms of the game is that plasma missiles can be too strong. They're one of these things that's too strong if left unchecked.
Yeah.
Right, missiles have their own initiative phase before the combat because, oh look, there they are. Fire missiles.
Long range, yeah.
So a plasma missile is 2 dice that only hit on 6s.
But 2 wounds each.
But they do 2 wounds each.
So missiles travel faster than lasers in space.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah.
Missiles have got a much further range
No
than
vacuum.
missiles. Missiles have got a much further range than lasers.
No.
Light travel.
No.
As
No,
in missiles are-
lasers, no, in space combat, that's like a given thing.
No.
We're
You're-
talking literal physics.
No. You are both correct. Light will travel faster, but the intensity of a laser will decrease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
You
a
can't do
missile's
it.
warhead will not decrease over range.
No, but it moves slower. So in theory, it'd be easy to get out of the way. Anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but it can hit you when a laser can't, because the laser's not going to do
Also,
anything.
importantly, we've never been into space, so we don't.
Well, I'm basing this on the Honorverse series, and you have to close to energy weapons range, whereas missile engagements are done at a much larger margin.
Maybe we should ask NASA.
Let's ask NASA.
Also, it's a
I've
1
seen a
in.
laser shotgun.
Also, it's a 1 in 6, so they
the
miss
internet.
IO
It's
quite a
real.
lot.
So nice. So, like, one thing that people can do, and these have no power requirements either. So, one thing that people have done in the past is to turn their interceptors into these tiny little missile boats that just go
Yeah.
and just blow you to hell before anything can happen. But missiles only get to shoot once, right at the very start, and they're done.
Yeah.
Because then you're close to energy range, and they're too easy to start.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So missiles can be powerful, but they're very expensive to get hold of. So.
Actually, we have to research. Oh no, this is all stuff you have to research.
Yeah.
This is things you can just buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
By playing an upgrade action, you can just go, I'm going to have one of those and one of those.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like you could put a targeting computer on your interceptors.
Yeah.
But those are the literal same icons as the things that
Exactly.
you already start with.
Yeah.
If those pods run out, they run out.
No. There's tons of them there, and even if they run out, they're not supposed to run out.
Okay,
they're not
cool.
fixed. I could not imagine a game where that happens.
I'm going to buy all of the ion cannons and replace all of my shields
Yeah.
and hull with more
Right.
ion cannons.
So
You
that's
could
the
do
battle
that, I suppose.
phase.
Yeah.
A really good generator. You could just have like
Now-
30. Well,
Anyone
6.
inside
ion
this
cannons.
bag are reputation tiles. Okay, reputation tiles look like this. Okay, they have a number between 1 to 4. There's like tons of 1s, a few
Food
fewer
tokens.
2s, a few fewer 3s, and only 4 4s.
Food tokens.
Yes, and when you do a battle, you get 1 token for taking part in the battle. You get
Pardon me.
1 for taking part in the battle, 1 for every interceptor you kill, 1 for every starbase you kill, 2 for every cruiser you kill, 3 for every dreadnought you kill, 1 for every ancient, 3 for the GCDS, which is the Galactic Central Defense System.
What the hell?
That monstrosity.
What the damn hell?
That Death Star. But you can only ever have a maximum of 5. At the end of the combat, you'll draw them secretly. Okay? And you choose 1 to keep, the biggest number, and then you put it face down on your sheet. Okay? Now
They're
this...
all VP, they don't have.
They're all
any
VP, there's
text
nothing
or
else to
anything
them.
like
Yeah. So fighting, even if you lose, you can
Yeah.
get something, right?
that.
You can go down. You can go down bravely.
You could get more
But
than the
you
first one.
don't
Yeah.
get... You will not get reputation if you flee.
Yeah.
Okay? You won't, but you can if you kill something.
You
and
want-
then flee.
You want to die trying?
Yeah, but if you flee a battle and you didn't kill anything, you don't get anything. Now, these go here on the left-hand side of your board, which is your reputation track. There's 2 kinds of symbols on the reputation track, which are the shields, which are reputation, but they're merged with these... I mean, God knows, this is a lesson in 2D shapes, this game. The square that met a circle and whatever. And these are your ambassador tokens, okay?
Ambassador.
Now, the ambassador action isn't an action per se, it's something...
fabulous moustache. Yeah.
Yes. It's something that's done as part of your turn.
But
Any-
not requiring action.
Yeah, it's done as part of any... and can be done in the combat phase as well. The ambassador action, if you can link to someone else through a continuous wormhole sequence, right, then you have met that person.
When you say someone else, does it have to be the home?
No, just anything.
So like in Civ, if you run into someone, cool.
Yeah.
So if we both explored one first, we
It's possible.
could
Yeah.
ambassador.
It's not definite, but
turn
it's
one.
possible. Yeah. You can suggest an ambassador exchange, okay? If you do that, you give them your ambassador token, they give you theirs. So, and at the end of the game, the ambassadors are worth 1 victory point each, and to represent trade, you also give them one of your cubes of any colour you want. So that frees up a space on your track. Okay, so ambassadors are great. However, this is an alliance. That's what it is. Mechanically, it is an alliance.
Okay.
You cannot attack that player.
Ooh.
An attack is defined as going into a space that has any of their stuff in it. Okay?
Oh,
if you
wow, okay.
do so, you can do so.
Yeah.
But if you do so, immediately the ambassadors, well, you could
killed.
think that they're returned, or more likely they're murdered.
Then Jackson Howard is.
So they're dead, and they go back to the players, and the population cube goes back to the track.
Yeah.
And the person that broke the alliance takes the traitor card. Okay? This card is worth -2 points at the end of the game, which this isn't a game with massive victory points, so that's quite a few. And no one can make alliances with them, and they can't make alliances with anyone as long as they have the traitor card.
And I imagine that only happens if someone retraitorises.
So let's say you betray Sean,
traitor.
Yeah.
you're the traitor,
Yeah.
right? But then if Sean turns on Alec, we have forgotten your crimes.
Yeah.
You are the filthiest person in the galaxy.
Yeah.
And now suddenly you can make alliances again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
But interestingly,
He's not as bad.
right then, you can see though your ambassador tokens. Like if you take other people's ambassador tokens, though, they're actually covering up your reputation space. So battling, you can't have the reputation as a great warrior and a perfect diplomat.
Yeah.
Could you can ambassador multiple times with the same person?
No.
Oh.
You can only ally so hard. Right, and that.
Is it mutual, by the way? When you become when you
Yes,
do an
yes.
ambassador,
You can't be like, hi, I'm in an alliance with you. I haven't agreed to this. I haven't
I'm
agreed
just
to
going to
this.
put this guy. And he's going to steal money. From me.
And alliances aren't binding in the way that if you and Jack were allied and I attacked you, Jack is under no obligation to attack
absolutely.
me.
It's
No,
pure mechanics.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I could be allied with Jack, and Jack could be allied with you as well.
Yeah.
And you could attack me, and Jack
Yeah.
could just sit there going, I'm not a traitor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to get
Exactly.
involved.
Look at the other side of these.
Yeah, that's the alien race. Every board has an alien on the other side, which is really different.
Oh, so you can play the alien game.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
they're good.
awesome.
And they're really different, but you shouldn't play it the first time that you play
That's
because
awesome.
they're really really.
Like playing
So you
FTL
bought
is
2 games in one.
Yeah. Now
That's cool.
when you score the reputation points on every tile
When
you
you
control.
score, you score to
You
score.
score 1 victory point for every ambassador tile you have. You score 2 victory points for every that side up discovery tile that you have. You score 3 victory points for every monolith you build in that you control, which is the monolith technology that you have to research first. Then you have to spend 10 materials to build a monolith. That goes in one of your regions of space. It's not your monolith.
No, someone can
It's
take
who's
it.
ever controlling that region's monolith.
So you build a monolith, somebody comes in and kills you.
Like
It's their
Archipelago.
monolith.
Like Archipelago. Controlling the town.
Technology tracks can be worth 1 victory point, 2 victory points, 3 victory points, or 5 victory points each.
How do you get to 5?
If you complete the
If
row.
you do, it's always the thing to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you only need to get to here for it to be
One,
VP.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, not. I thought it was to get to
Yeah,
And your reputation tiles can be worth 1 to 4, and you could lose 2 victory points if you're the traitor. And that is the whole game.
Improved hull.
Thank you.
The whole town.
We're
the
done!
whole time. Hey-oh! My dick!